Well, hello. That's me again, and we have something to talk about today, obviously. Uh, as I am on the record constantly, and you already know it, you read my books and you read my blog, many of you anyway, it's the fact that I've been on record for years that European Union is America's lunch. And people say, how could it be the lunch? Well, very simple. America needs to isolate European Union or Europe, its main players, Germany, France, Italy, Spain. UK obviously is kind of not the part of it. UK is sort of in the tandem with the United States, trying to get spoils of it. But once United States breaks the connection between European Union and Russia, and especially Russian energy, then suddenly, yeah, there are chances to kind of, if not to restore the United States, which is declining quite significantly as I speak to you, but obviously to provide some kind of American energy independence, quote unquote, to Europe, and thus basically squeeze out or strangle European economy, which is already highly energy inefficient and has enormous costs, energy costs already in the products it produces and sells around the world. So Europeans kind of begin to get it, not all of them, of course, but obviously after Mr. Biden, President of the United States, stated that again, if Russia invades Ukraine, which Russia doesn't want to invade, Nord Stream will be done. It will cease to exist. Well, yeah, but no, they probably will get the team of SEALs, whatever, Team 6, whatever the team, they will blow it out, and basically that will be it. But Biden can say whatever he wants, but the issue, of course, here is much more profound than that. And evidently some in Europe begin to understand that, hey, this is not good. And Mr. Macron, who is really not that big of a figure, because he doesn't represent anymore the independent France, he merely represents yet another American lapdog from NATO, and he has elections coming. He runs rushes to Moscow and tries to convince poor Putin, who after the 6-hour meeting comes out and sarcastically notes that Mr. Macron tortured me for 6 hours. While people concentrate completely on different things, they say, oh my God, he threatens nuclear war. Yeah, Russia threatens nuclear war. It's written in Russia's military doctrine, especially Articles 26 and 27, which describe the conditions under which Russia will be using their nuclear weapons, and these are primarily relating to Russia's security when it is threatened and the existence of Russian state is threatened. And that condition could be obviously the acceptance of the Ukraine into NATO, if NATO wants to commit suicide, because the moment Ukraine is basically accepted into NATO, it's going to be broken up by Russia, and Ukrainian armed forces will be annihilated, and whatever NATO assets will be at that point of time in Ukraine, they will be annihilated too. And Putin is absolutely correct when stating to Macron yesterday that, hey, NATO and European Union and, you know, NATO as a whole, on paper at least, it's certainly much larger than Russia. And your Article 5, hey, guess what? Once it's declared, once it's agreed upon, you're going to war with us. You want a war with us? Well, you'll get the war. And if United States gets into the war, I mean, big time, then there you go. And that's what was told to Macron. But realistically, I know Putin was bored out of his mind listening to the guy who really decides nothing. He tries to pretend that he decides, and he wants to repeat this kind of French diplomacy thing. He flies to Moscow, then flies to Kiev, and tries to get what he cannot possibly get from Kiev, because Kiev is not a subject, it is an object. The same as France, which decides absolutely nothing. the only two subjects in this matter, in the matter of Ukraine, is the United States and Russia. And we know now what the United States plan is. Well, it's, I don't know who, when I say we, in terms of whoever listens to me, but I and many people who read me, whom I know, they certainly know what is this all about. It is about basically eating Europe. Some people in Europe understand that. But what is very interesting happened after the meeting of Macron and Putin will have to talk now to the German Chancellor Scholz, who will have to somehow explain why his foreign minister says that basically Europe is ready to take the economic hit if Russia invades again. Again, it's basically it's all propaganda and hysteria. And here's the thing. Suddenly, the main Italian newspaper, La Stampa, its major newspaper, comes out with the article yesterday. And the article basically comes down to, and if you want to, you can obviously look up the La Stampa article. It's editorial, front page. But if somebody would want to, I will leave the article, link to the article in Italian below in my description of the video. And La Stampa goes basically for the jugular. And they state that instead of their smart tactical, ambivalence, United States evidently have a huge strategic one. And the reason they say that, because obviously, and they explain that the only thing the United States is left for the United States right now is the hysteria and the propaganda, because the United States is guilty of the major alliance emerging. Well, it's already emerged, actually, has already emerged between Russia and China. And the plan, of course, to split Russia from China obviously failed. Well, it was bound to fail when you consider the level of the US elites and level of US government and diplomacy, quote unquote, which they won't be able to do anything about it because they don't understand what they're dealing with. And now La Stampa openly says that, and there is a panic in Washington, D.C. First, not only a Russian-Chinese alliance emerged, it is a functional thing, but obviously there's nothing left for the United States except for this hysteria with Ukraine, which Russia doesn't want, because they also thought that Russia wants Ukraine. And they, of course, miserably failed. They miscalculated in 2014. And what's left? And La Stampa says the best way is to basically cut European ties with Russia. I'm talking about economic. Culturally, there's very little what is in common nowadays. But once you cut economic ties, at least you get some spoils, seemingly. But evidently, many people in Europe, as the article in La Stampa testifies, are becoming aware of what is going on. Macron, obviously, he was absolutely empty-suit, but still he was talking about that, yeah, we need to get, Russia, stay with us. And now suddenly La Stampa says, well, West needed Russia, but West pushed Russia to the east. And now how do you deal with that? People say, and even people in the Le Figaro in France write about, oh, we need Russia go back with the West. No. You did everything to push Russia out of the West, and now it's too late, guys. The only thing which Russia can provide at this stage for Europe is this, thread. It is, saving thread, which can lead them out of labyrinth, and this is the saving thread of the cheap, affordable, rather not cheap, but affordable energy, which will allow the European economy, and especially the most important part of European economy, which is European industry, to survive. There is no industry in Europe, no Europe at all, and no chance to survival. I've been on that for a very long time, so we need to keep this in mind. As per this by now just nauseating issue of Russia wanting to invade Ukraine, to the point that Ukraine itself now says that Russia doesn't want to invade us, you see yourself basically at the level of especially American mass media, mainstream media, it's Goebbelsonian propaganda. People who work there and people who work in New York Times, Washington Post, let alone this cabal of clowns on CNN or MSNBC, not only they are incompetent, they always were in those matters. What you see today is absolute, deliberate hysteria and propaganda they feed, and they think that if something happens big, and I'm talking not Russia defending Donbas Republic if Ukraine attacks them, or Russia invading Ukraine, of course, which Russia is not going to do, but if the World War III starts because of them, those people better think, if they survive, that they will face, same as the Goebbelsonian propagandists face the tribunal for the war crimes, because they are basically fanning the flames of American militarism, and they want the war to really start. Now, again, I am on the record, and it's ad nauseum now. It's, I know, for some people nauseating. Very many people in the American administration, they don't understand what war is. They have no clue. Even those people who work probably from the intelligence community. And that brings us to another very important thing. Dmitry Simes, while I do not take Dmitry Simes' publication, National Interest, any seriously at all, I have to admit that Dmitry Simes himself is definitely a man of a good mind, and definitely many things he says, not all, I agree with them, but many things he talks about, they make sense. And now what I see in terms of how Dmitry Simes basically evolved, and he talks now to Russian audience. He talks to Russian audience for a long time now. He basically is sometimes represented as the Channel 1 Russia. He had a couple of days ago a very interesting conversation with Vladimir Solovyov, who is a major media figure. I don't like him, but he is a major figure. He is listened by millions upon millions, if not tens of millions of Russians. He knows that how important he is in this respect. And he was talking to Dmitry Simes in his, I believe it's called Politics Today segment. And Dmitry Simes was talking about United States. And then suddenly he admitted that at this stage, we have to consider the fact that people on the top, very top level, including military brass, people who get there, they go through the incredibly tight filter of the political correctness and all those woke things that at this stage we don't know if they do it out of conformity and pure careerism or are they genuine articles. And Dmitry Simes, who definitely has the access to the Washington bohem, so to speak, and Beaumont, he is correct. I think so. I agree with him. And I was speaking about this for a long time now myself. He talks about generals, American generals, and he is saying things of this nature, that people of the American generals who are having 1 or 2 stars on their epaulets, most of them, they do understand real military implications of the war in Europe, which will end up also seeing United States destroyed. The problem, of course, with those who have 3 and 4 stars and those who go up there, how much, as already have been stated, it is a conformity and pure careerism. How much are they genuine articles who believe in this bullshit which is being propagated as the United States' current foreign policy? We don't know. We can only assume some things. But obviously the mid-level bureaucracy in Washington, D.C., and especially the mid-level bureaucracy in Pentagon, maybe CIA and other intelligence services, I doubt about State Department though. They should recognize their basically implications and ramifications of any kind of major provocation from the United States or United Kingdom on the line of the contact between the armed forces of Ukraine and Donbas republics, or maybe of the provocations which will be done deep in Ukraine itself, Ukraine proper, up to the, who knows, some terrorist act in Kiev which could be blamed on Russia. So this we have to think really hard and long about what do we have in terms of people who run the real policies or pretend to run the policies or pretend policies in the United States. We don't know it yet. We only have to guess and assume things. So at this point, I think we definitely need to probably thank God, those people who believe in God, or thank the providence or what have you, that we have Vladimir Putin and his basically the group of his allies who run a very calm and very measured routine right now, but also give a very good and project a very good understanding, especially for the Western journals who are dumb as, pardon my French, fuck, and who are absolutely incomprehensibly incompetent in the matters of war and real strategies. That, yeah, good that Vladimir Putin also mentioned that you want a war with us, it's going to end up with a nuclear war. And he's absolutely correct stating that. If it shakes them, good. If not, then, you know, it's a lost cause anyway. But it's also the main reason why we have what is happening right now in Europe and in the United States. The West is declining big time. So this is basically what I wanted to talk about today. I don't think so it needs any more additional elaborations. We will certainly see what Scholz will talk about with Putin. And again, none of the European leaders are free leaders. They don't have real free will. And as I always smile at that, is that attitude adjustment will be in store for them if they say something which a big master, which is the United States, doesn't like. But at least the article in Stampa and some, again, opinions from Le Figaro, they definitely give some idea that not everybody in Europe wants to see Russia gone from the Western fold. But again, Russia is gone from the Western fold. And it is now for Russia to decide if she wants to accept the West. And if she does, it's going to be on Russian conditions. And evidently some people in Stampa get around those kind of ideas. So this is basically what I needed to talk about today. And as always, please subscribe. You don't have to like me, subscribe. And if you can afford it, support me on Patreon. It will be grossly appreciated. So, and I will do some videos where I will again honor my patrons, and my profound thanks, guys, for supporting me in this endeavor. That allows me to produce my videos and concentrate now more on writing, and I hope to improve the quality soon. So this is my talk for today. Have fun, and I see you later, guys. Bye-bye.